What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Wars Report. We have a new update surrounding the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets, and apparently a deal was being discussed surrounding Pascal Siakam. There are also some names thrown out there of what the Raptors could potentially get in return from the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to be breaking that down for you guys. I'm also going to be discussing some of the trade rumors from earlier today where the Nets were being linked to players like Fred VanVleet, OG and Anunoby, as well as this very interesting tweet that was put out that could indicate what the Raptors players want ahead of the NBA trade deadline. So if you're ready to watch this video, guys, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you wish to hit the subscribe button, that would be very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel, and the shout out for today's video goes out to Sean. So Sean, thank you so much for supporting this channel. To your likes and comments, it is very much appreciated. Now let's talk about NBA Central, because they were reporting the Nets and the Raptors have discussed a Pascal Siakam trade. According to Mike A. Scotto, the Raptors are interested in Nic Claxton, Ben Simmons, and several first-round draft picks have also been discussed in trade conversations. Now, I find this very interesting. First of all, I will say one thing off the bat, because what have the Brooklyn Nets been doing recently is leaking a lot of the team's trade offers. We saw this with the Kyrie Irving trade post Dallas when he got traded to the Dallas Mavericks. We got news of what the Phoenix Suns offered. We got news of what the Clippers offered. We got news of what the Lakers offered. So before people are quick to suggest that there is no real truth to this, I wouldn't brush it off just like that. But I find this very interesting because the Raptors had been pursuing Ben Simmons since he was on the 76ers trade block as well. And if you recall, the 76ers asking price was just too high for the Toronto Raptors. Now, obviously, Ben Simmons is having a very struggling season where he's averaging a triple single, literally a triple single. I never like to make fun of players, but he's averaging 7 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. And look, man, it's just gone downhill for Ben Simmons. You know, everyone thought maybe he just needs to get out of that organization from the 76ers. But for someone that's making $35 million, man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Raptors potentially acquiring that, because not only do you have Scottie Barnes on that team that isn't a great three-point shooter, he can hit his threes occasionally, but that is not the strong point of his game. Now you're going to be acquiring Ben Simmons, who cannot shoot the three at all. You're also going to be acquiring Nic Claxton as well for Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam is your best half-court offense right there in one player, and you're going to be trading him for two players that cannot generate offense, but they're really good defenders. So you really got to question Masai Ujiri's mindset here, not only because of Ben Simmons, but also Nicolas Claxton as well. Like, I fail to understand what Masai Ujiri is doing here. The Raptors could have acquired Nicolas Claxton. Let me remind everyone, they could have acquired Nicolas Claxton last year at the NBA trade deadline, where it was rumored that apparently the Nets wanted Chris Boucher and a first-round pick, but instead they sent that first-round pick to the Spurs for Thaddeus Young. We know how that trade's going out now, but I don't know, guys. Nicolas Claxton was also a free agent as well. The Nets signed him to a two-year, $17 million. And I fail to understand Masai Ujiri. Why would you not? And I stated this last year, like, I really like Nicolas Claxton, but why would you not try to sign him to a two-year $20 million, two-year $22 million at that deal? I know people are going to say hindsight 2020. Everyone saw this coming. Nicolas Claxton was always a good shot blocker, and he's taking his defense to another level. Now, we know the Raptors need a center, but taking a look at Nicolas Claxton's statistics here, I'm just going to quickly highlight this before we talk about Nicolas Claxton. Currently, he's averaging 13 points, 9 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and obviously his field goal percentage is very impressive because most of his shots come right at the rim, but he cannot shoot the three, like I stated. His free throw percentage is downright terrible, 49.7%. He is very young, so you could argue that he would fit in the timeline of the Raptors' young core. But then you really have to question, like, he's 6'11", 215 pounds, guys. The whole point of acquiring a center was to have someone that's a little bit, look, I'm not going to dismiss his blocks per game. He's averaging 2 blocks a game. It's not listed here. But look, you really have to question, like, Nicolas Claxton would be a great addition to the Raptors. Yes. But you have to question, like, if the Raptors face the 76ers in the future, now all of a sudden you're going to run into the same issue where you're going to have to double team Joel Embiid. Look, I know there's not any center around the league that can slow down Joel Embiid, but at least you want them to at least be physically able to hold their own. Nicolas Claxton actually fits in with the Raptors style of play very well. He can move his feet pretty well, but I just don't know, guys. You need a physical body in there. I know he's a great shot blocker. I know people may disagree with this. He's obviously a very good defender as well. But again, those are just some of the concerns regarding Nicolas Claxton. I would actually like him on the Raptors as well. I wanted the Raptors to pursue him in free agency, and for whatever reason, a lot of fans stated, when I stated that, they said, don't worry, we got Christian Koloko. And you're seeing what happens. Like, rookie centers take a while to develop as well. But again, very frustrating mindset of Masai Ujiri. I fail to understand what's happening here. But let's talk about some of the other trade rumors as well. Now, earlier today, NBA Central was reporting the Brooklyn have explored packaging Spencer Dinwiddie and draft capital to Toronto for Fred VanVleet. Now, there was obviously trying to expand that package that they had sent to Kyrie Irving to Dallas Mavericks. They're trying to get a third team involved, and the deadline was 3 p.m. Eastern, and that had passed. And now we know the trade is official. But now this makes it a little bit harder for the Brooklyn Nets to acquire Fred VanVleet. Why? Because Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be someone they can no longer package with any other player. So it makes it a little bit more challenging for the Brooklyn Nets to acquire Fred VanVleet. And if I'm being honest, like if I'm the Toronto Raptors, and obviously Fred is going to get shopped, I just think it makes more sense to acquire younger assets. Again, it's going to be challenging. You obviously want some good players in return, but Spencer Dinwiddie is a year older. I believe he's almost 30 years old. He's also making $18 million. He's not locked into next season. And while he may be a really high IQ basketball player that most teams would want on their team, I just think the Raptors right now are probably best. Like the whole point of trading guys like Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. is to acquire cheaper contracts that are under contract for quite some time. So again, I don't know how Spencer Dinwiddie really fits into the timeline. Like he could be a really good bench piece for us as well, but I just don't see a deal getting done. Let's talk about OG Anunoby as well, because there's some trade rumors surrounding him as well. And it was stating, according to Real GM, Brooklyn Nets are interested in trading for OG and Anunoby as well. Now, I find this a little bit odd because it almost seems like the Nets are interested in everyone. Like, who are you realistically giving up, though? Because the Raptors aren't giving up Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby for Ben Simmons or a mix of that. Like, the Raptors can easily get much better packages from other teams. So I don't know what the Nets are trying to do. Maybe this is just all a little fake, whatever you want to call it, fake act of maybe trying to keep Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. That's what's being rumored. They apparently want to surround him with really good talent, and I don't blame them. He's obviously a really talented player, but let's be honest. At the end of the day, you really have to question their intentions because you're not acquiring these talents, and also because if the Raptors, like, I know everyone disagrees, guys, but if the Raptors are going to wait till the offseason or maybe wait longer till you hear Kevin Durant asking for a trade request, it doesn't make sense to help the Brooklyn Nets out right now, right? Like, again, I think the Raptors could really quickly retool this team much faster than most people believe. I know a lot of fans want to retool this team. I just think you acquire a center, you acquire some bench piece, all of a sudden the Raptors are back in, and then you add KD, man, like this team is something. It could be something special, but again, we'll leave that for another video. We've already kind of discussed Kevin Durant a few videos ago, but let's talk about that tweet I was talking about. Now, this was being tweeted by Mike Roach. He works for Yahoo Sports. So before people disclaim that he's no insider, he's no Adrian Wojnarowski, he's also had podcasts with Chris Boucher as well. He was tweeting out that there are players on the Raptors that want moves to be made. This is a fact. Now, obviously, I don't know if this means that guys like Fred VanVleet want to be moved from the Raptors, or guys like Pascal Siakam want the Raptors to make some moves to improve the roster. But clearly the Raptors do need some changes. Like, you saw what a mess the Raptors have been. When you take a look at individual talent, it's clearly there, but for whatever reason, the Raptors aren't meshing. So some players need to get moved. Obviously, good pieces need to come back as well. We'll leave that up to Masai Ujiri, but I find this very interesting because if the Raptors do decide, I want to say, if the Raptors do decide not to make any moves because there's no trade offer to their liking, then all of a sudden you have to wonder, is Pascal Siakam going to become frustrated and maybe request a trade in the offseason? Like, those are just some of the concerns you have to remember. And although I don't have the tweet up as well, it's being reported by Josh Lewenberg, Toronto Raptors reporter, that apparently the Raptors are content with making no moves if they don't get a deal to their liking. They could wait till the offseason to make more moves. So again, it's quite confusing as to what the Raptors are going to do, what Masai and Bobby Webster are going to do. There's obviously all sorts of trade rumors. Personally, guys, I just think this is smokescreen. The Raptors are discussing with the Brooklyn Nets to entice some other teams. Like, we know this is a seller's market, and I know for a fact that not a lot of teams want to be buying in this market. Not a lot of teams want to be giving up. Not a lot of teams want to be giving up two prospects for OG Anunoby, and definitely not Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent Jr. as well. So again, I just don't think there's a good offer on the table for the Raptors, which is why you're hearing like trade rumors surrounding the Nets as well. With all due respect to the Nets, there isn't a lot they can offer that is a lot more attractive than what some of the other teams could offer the Raptors for guys like OG, for guys like Fred VanVleet as well. So again, we'll wait and see what happens. Obviously, the Raptors have a few more days to ultimately make their decision, but I also wanted to talk about Adrian Wojnarowski, who tweeted out earlier today that many conversations in the league are going through one team today, the Toronto Raptors. Now, obviously, the Raptors, it seems like the entire league is waiting on what they're going to do. They are going to be major players in the NBA trade deadline, whether they decide to make a move or not. I think the reason a lot of teams are waiting to see what the Raptors are doing is because they want to see, like, if the Raptors are trading away players, like, let's say if the Raptors trade away OG and Fred VanVleet, this is a big indication that the Raptors may be rebuilding. Then all of a sudden, teams are going to come calling for guys like Pascal Siakam and other players as well. So again, we'll see what happens. Very interesting news I find that comes out today regarding Pascal Siakam. I personally do not believe he's going anywhere. And he was even being reported by Mike Stein, apparently, that the Raptors do not realistically want to trade away Pascal and OG as well. Just before, of course, this news came out that they were discussing some trades with the Nets as well. So again, I think it's just smokescreen. The Raptors clearly want some other teams to be involved and throw in a little bit more than what they're asking or what they may be willing to give up. And obviously, the Brooklyn Nets are doing this because they want to improve their roster. Like, they want to talk about what they can get on the roster, and maybe this is going to entice some of the teams they may be talking to, perhaps the Phoenix Suns as well. So again, we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see. It's crazy times to be an NBA fan. It's obviously very exciting. Everyone, I can say this for a fact, is checking their phone every 20, 30 minutes to see if anything has happened. But I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the Raptors should trade Pascal Siakam? And if yes, and if to the Brooklyn Nets, and if you're a Nets fan, like, what are you realistically giving up for Pascal? Do you like Nic Claxton? Do you like Ben Simmons? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And that trivia question is, which player has attempted the most field goals per game this season? Is it A, Luka Doncic? Is it B, Jason Tatum? Is it C, LeBron James? Is it D, Joel Embiid? Or is it E, Ja Morant? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. If you're still watching, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. That would be very much appreciated. So with that being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.